But if there is a favorite to finish in the top two, it would be 27-year-old Josh Davis, triple gold medalist from the 96 Olympics. Most golds, Rowdy, by any American man at those games.
You know, I have seen Josh Davis take a lot of races out very fast, but I've never seen Josh take it out that fast.
And he's still ahead of world record pace at the halfway mark. Davis looks like he's going to win it, and Davis sets an American record. He breaks a 12-year-old mark. What a swim for Davis.
Welcome to the Ultimate Swimmer Podcast. I'm your host, three-time Olympic gold medalist and captain of the 2000 USA team, Josh Davis. Here at Ultimate Swimmer, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you to be the very best version of you, physically, mentally, and spiritually, on your swimming journey. This podcast is geared primarily for those of us in the aquatic disciplines of age group swimming, college swimming, para swimming, open water swimming, and master swimming. But we welcome all who are interested in peak performance, pursuing excellence, and swimming with purpose. So whether you are just starting out in the pool or you've been swimming your entire life, you were born for the water, and you were also born for greatness. So each week we will explore the 7 core habits of achieving greatness that will help take you to the next level in your journey to becoming an ultimate swimmer. This episode is brought to you by Breakout Swim Clinics, the longest-running swim clinic tour of swimming Olympians in U.S. history. Breakout Swim Clinics has been providing swim clubs with the biggest Olympic names for the best prices with gold medal service since 1997. Go to breakoutswimclinic.com and bring some of their great Olympians to your team to help your swimmers break out. Bigger names, better prices, gold medal service. Break out with the best. breakoutswimclinic.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Swimmer Podcast Show. I'm your host, Josh Davis, and I'm very excited to have this week's guest. She's a true ultimate swimmer. She started swimming at age 6 with her future USA teammate, Molly Hannes, in Santa Rosa, California. Very cool. Then she grew up to be a California State high school champion in the 200 IM, setting the state record, and then had a perfect score in her math on the SAT and got accepted to a scholarship at Stanford University and became a national champion her senior year there, making a huge impact all 4 years at Stanford. And actually, her sophomore year set an age group record, becoming the fastest 18 and under ever, going 3:59 in the 400 IM. That's pretty amazing. And then 2014 turned pro, came to the Oklahoma Pro-Am. That's where we first got to meet. We'll talk about that later. And then threw down a 4:31 in 2015 at the World Champs that put her on the map and then set her up for a great Rio and won 4 gold medals in Rio, 2 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze, married her college sweetheart. Golly, the total package, smart, fast, and super nice. A true ultimate swimmer. Welcome to the show, Maya DiRado. Thank you, Maya, for being on the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, wow, you just we covered kind of most of your career right there.
That's it.
In 40 seconds. But did you know when you were 6 and 7 starting out that you were going to fall in love with swimming and have this trajectory? Tell us a little bit about what life was like for little Maya back in 1999 swimming.
Very much no. I was a pretty average young age group swimmer, and I didn't even really like swimming that much to begin with. I would hide from my mom when the carpool came to pick me up. But the important thing was that I always came home from practice with a smile on my face. And so it didn't take too long, thanks to really great coaches and really fun teammates, to start to enjoy it more. And then that generally translates into just more successful training and races. And so once you get a little bit better and a little bit faster and you start to see that improvement, it's all just a really virtuous cycle from there. So I didn't start off with any sort of Olympic dreams or hopes, but it was just a really kind of normal beginning, like any other club swimmer. Just had a good time, was enjoying it, listened to my coaches, worked on technique, and had fun with my teammates.
That's so cool. Do you remember training with Molly back in the day? When you were 7, 8 years old?
Yeah. And what's funny is not only did we swim together, but we played soccer against each other. And Molly's an incredible athlete across a variety of different sports and modalities in a way that I am not. My athleticism is purely contained within the pool, but Molly is super nimble and quick and agile, and she absolutely tore it up on the soccer field. But yeah, so many memories going back with swim meets with her and her brothers who also swam. And you know, she was so much fun to swim with growing up.
That's cool. Yeah, she's super tough, competitive, and very, very cool. I need to have her on the show.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't just get a perfect score on the math SAT at 17 or 15 whenever you took it. What did you start doing? What do you remember looking back on your childhood that you did well or that set you up for success educationally?
Yeah, I always had a bit of a knack for math, but I think what really helped was the environment that I was put in. So I was really fortunate that at my school there was a program where sixth graders could take a math test to then put them on an accelerated track in math at our middle school. And then when I was in eighth grade, with 3 other of my friends that were in this program, we would actually go to the high school. We'd walk over to the high school to take our math classes. So I'm really fortunate looking back on that I had that opportunity to be challenged and to get to sort of stretch my abilities there. And, you know, I had really great teachers that helped me enjoy it. And it's hard to like something that you don't understand. And so it was much easier to learn and, you know, try to be good at math when I had really great people in my life that were able to explain it in a way that made sense. And then, you know, my parents were really focused on academics as well. And so they liked to encourage us to stretch ourselves, my sister and I, and, you know, really make sure that we were expecting the best of ourselves and putting in the effort and not scraping by on good enough. And so I think those factors together, along with, you know, inheriting my dad's engineering mind and just sort of natural inclination for math kind of led to that ridiculous, fun party stat of a perfect score on the math SATs.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is it's good to have kind of high, healthy expectations on the kids. Don't be afraid to try an accelerated path. And then the third huge thing is have a great teacher who explains it well and makes it interesting. So you keep coming back for more.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did not have that in algebra. I got to algebra 2 and my brain stopped.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to admit it.
Yeah.
But that teacher did not make it fun for me. Anyway.
No.
But I think that's so cool and a good encouragement for all of us out there that is possible to be great in the pool and in school. Yeah. So what are some cool highlights in high school that you remember? I mean, California State Swimming is pretty fun, and you got the big championship. Y'all are the last ones in May. And any epic races you remember in high school?
Yeah. So, you know, for any swimmer that's kind of getting to that stage, I think high school swimming is a combination of your club team and your high school experience. And so for me in high school with my club team, I think I went to my first nationals. I want to say like end of my freshman year of high school, and then got my Olympic trials cut. So went to trials in between my sophomore and junior years of high school. So like how to really, and went on my first junior team trip. So like really kind of grew up in swimming and started to achieve, you know, really big goals that I had for myself during that time. And then, so that was also where I started to meet a lot of my future USA swimming teammates, going to like national select camps and being on the junior team. Started to build a lot of those relationships that would stay with me for, you know, the rest of my swimming career and even till this day. But in terms of high school swimming, you know, we did that because it was fun and we got to swim with new people, like some of our classmates from school that weren't on the club team but wanted to try out for the team. And so it's just a fun way to keep swimming fresh and do something different. But it's hard because we would leave school a little bit early on days that we had meets, go do the meet, try to get food, and then stay after for our club team practice. And so like, it's just a lot of swimming, and but it's good. And you just get reps racing. And kind of one of the things that I really enjoyed about high school swimming was we would go to the high school practice every Friday instead of going to club team. And so there we had the opportunity to get to swim with these other swimmers that were maybe newer to the sport or, just hadn't spent their whole lives swimming. And we got to work on technique and do skills and just have a good time and really just have fun in the water. And so that was a really nice break from club swimming as that was starting to build up in its intensity and, get a little bit more real as I started to think about college swimming. It was nice to have those Fridays where it was just like, let's go down the slide, let's work on flip turns. So it was a good mix. And I never feel like my high school experience got too intense or too pressured. I had a really great coach around me to help me kind of keep steady.
That's huge when you have that balance and a coach, the high school coach and the club coach who kind of know how to work together. It's rare, but cool when it happens.
Yeah.
And tell us about being recruited. Did you know, you live near Stanford. Did you kind of know that's where you wanted? Or did you take some free trips to check out some other places?
Yeah. Recruiting is a crazy experience. So both my parents went to Stanford. They met there. It runs deep in the family. So that was, my dad has a cap of me when I was 6 years old with a big Stanford S, and we'd written like DiRado under it and marker. So it was not surprising that I ended up there, but I did want to explore other options and really make sure, do I want this? Has it just been what's in my head the whole time? So I went on trips to Texas, Cal, and Stanford. I wanted to make sure I was going out of California and seeing what else was out there. Obviously looked at Cal because it's an incredible school and an incredible swim program. And then, had to look at Stanford. But that's actually one piece of advice that I would give if anyone's interested is recruiting trips are hard and they're tiring for both the recruit and the people who are doing the recruiting. And so I think it's kind of a sign of respect to only go on trips where you would actually commit to that school. I know it's fun to see people and go to college campuses, but it's much better for everybody if you maybe don't take all 5 and can really thoughtfully decide ahead of time. I'm only seriously considering these 3 to 4 schools. I would really recommend that because 5 is just a lot of trips to go on. But so I loved all of my recruiting trips. I have a huge soft spot for the University of Texas that my husband does not understand. And I always root for them. Hook 'em horns. I wish in an alternate world, I wish there was also a path where I could have gone to Texas. I just think the people there are so fun and it's such a great culture. And Austin is such an incredible city. So then I went to Cal and also loved that. The school is incredible. The team is great. They've put out so many incredible swimmers. But when I got to Stanford, it was right. And I felt so happy and comfortable on campus and with the girls on the team, really kind of saw the balance of academics and athletics that I really valued in high school. And I was suddenly on a team with 25 people that also were as nerdy and as into swimming as I was. And so that it was just, really great to feel like that was such a good fit. And I'm so glad I made that decision.
Yeah, it worked out good, but it warms my heart that you love Texas too. Way to go.
Yeah.
And now, did Gregg recruit you, or was the switcheroo happen right after you committed?
Yeah, so the switch actually happened at the end of my in between sophomore and junior year. So I was recruited by Lee Maurer, swam for her for 2 years, and then Gregg came in at the beginning of my junior year along with Tracy to kind of take over the program, and that also worked out great too.
Yeah. What were some epic college moments that you look back on fondly?
Oh my gosh. I think it's everything from the random kind of not important days at the time, but practices or moments that just stick in your mind for whatever reason. There was one my freshman year, it was a morning practice. And I had a really big day of classes and midterms ahead of me. But I just remember it was this beautiful fall morning. I was on the blocks. We were doing dive 50s, and I looked up and I saw the whole pool and the football field and Hoover Tower. And I was just like, the energy of the team at this practice. And I was just like, this is exactly where I want to be right now. And I love how much I'm being stretched in all of these directions in a good way. Like I'm being challenged on a variety of dimensions and areas of my life. And that was just a really great kind of like mental snapshot that I'll remember forever for whatever reason. Like it wasn't an incredibly important day or practice. And then getting to go to my first NCAAs, which was also at UT, and just the excitement of that meet and the pressure to score points for your team is just such a fun way to swim. And there's really nothing like it. And getting to be on relays, college relays were, probably my favorite thing of all. And so my senior year, NCAAs was really incredible. Like we weren't going to win. We weren't projected to win, but we ended up totally outswimming our seed times. We won 4 out of the 5 relays, I think. And like that energy in the team area is just unreal. Every time we dove in, it was like, we can't miss. And those moments are rare in a swimming career, but they do happen. And when they do, it's just like, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, I love that. And you took, after college, you had a chance to go pro, and that took some thinking and planning and some talking with Gregg. And what did he say? And what, that really kind of helped say, okay, I'm going to stick around for 2 more years for this thing, or almost 3 years.
Yeah. I will say I was a pretty reluctant professional athlete and Olympian. Like I had to be talked into it every step of the way from basically April of 2014 through Pan Pacs, basically until like January of 2015 was the point at which I finally got on board and was like, okay, fine, I will do this. I'm going to commit to this goal for the next year and a half and see what happens. And I'm so grateful for Gregg and his patience with me during that time, and just the relationship that we had established that enabled him to have those hard conversations with me where, I think it was after Santa Clara in 2014 where I just had a disaster of a meet. And he sat me down and was like, are you proud of this? Like, is this what you think you are, like, is this as good as you can be? I was like, no. And it was in such a way that it was like, all right, let's get going. Like, let's refocus and commit. And you have 2 months till nationals, which was Pan Pac trials. And like, let's just see what we can put together there. And so kind of step by step, like we didn't have to boil the ocean in that one moment and say like, right now it's do or die to make the Olympic team. It was just like, hey, I know that you have these expectations for yourself. We're not there. Like, let's just get back on track. And so that conversation was really helpful. And then I was just really uncomfortable with the idea of making my life revolve around one single goal. And I'd always had school and something else to sort of balance swimming with. And I was really scared to sort of go all in on swimming for a period of time. And so it was like, Gregg was really great in being like, this doesn't define you as a person. This is just something that you're doing in this stage of life. And my parents were also really helpful in being like, you think a year and a half or 2 years is really long. It's not that long. Like, you have a lot of time left, and this is an incredible opportunity to get to achieve something or go for something that is really special. And so eventually after that, like, I had enough people be patient with me for long enough that I was able to sort of wrap my head around it and decide, yes, this is something I'm invested in. But it was not an easy, 9 months, I would say.
Well, 2 things come to mind during that interval. One, I invited you to the Oklahoma Pro-Am, December of 2014, and you lit it up, broke the meet records, and you swam great. And then I think you married Rob around that that year too.
I had just gotten engaged like the week before I flew out for Oklahoma.
That's what it was. Was.
Yeah. But I mean, I think part of the evolution and getting comfortable with it was just figuring out like, what does pro swimming look like? And what does it mean to be a professional? And I think getting to go to that meet, you're like, okay, this is fun. Like, this is a cool new way of swimming that I haven't done before. I'm in charge of my schedule and what I do. And so that was just a really great experience. That was, a fun way to sort of dip my toes into the professional world.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming to that meeting. It was fun. We had like 40 pros.
It was a great turnout.
You and Nathan and Michael Andrew kind of headlined us, and we had a blast. Yeah. So you're looking good for 2015 goes great. You go 4:31, lifetime best time, second at world champs. And you're thinking, okay, this is good. I can do one more year. Mm-hmm. But then trials comes, and then the pressure comes, and the expectations come, and the mental, it's all mental at trials. And so I want to talk just briefly about mindset at trials, transitioning and making a healthy training camp, which is what the team is just got done now. And now we're just one day away from the Olympics and of the show, and talk about how your mindset going into Rio. So can you go back and tell us about what worked at trials for you to handle that kind of pressure?
Oh my gosh. I would first of all say that very few people, if anyone, are comfortable at trials. Even if you're seated first in multiple events, even if you're Katie or Michael and everybody expects you to make the team, like, trials is hard. So it's like everything in your swimming career builds. This is how I viewed it. Every single thing that I had done, every hard moment, every stressful race that I had been through got me to the point where it was like a jump. Like, it wasn't guaranteed, but it was close enough that if I did everything right, I would get there. But like, you don't feel comfortable up there because your entire Olympic dream, the thing that you've worked for 2 years or 4 years or 17 years, however you want to look at it, is on the line in one race. And it doesn't matter what time you go, it matters your place. And I found that really, really hard to get comfortable with, because I had always approached my swimming career from the perspective of achievement, personal achievement. So can I be better than I was last year? At trials, that doesn't really matter. But then I realized that's actually still all that matters. Like, just because I want to get first or second, I still can't control that. And you have to be comfortable with the work you've put in and kind of feel going in that you've already done everything that you can do to feel good and be able to sleep at night with the effort that you put forward in that race. And so it was realizing that I had done the best training of my life in that year and a half leading up to trials. There was nothing else I could have possibly done. And if I went out there and swam my best time and I got third, what are you going to do about that? Like, I still have to be happy with the effort that I put into it. And so that was really the only way I was able to walk out there for the 400 IM without just crumbling. But it still was not fun until I flipped at the 350 and was like, okay, I think I'm gonna make the team. And even then, touching the wall, pure relief, like very little joy. It was just such relief. And then the meet got much better from there.
Yeah, then you're on a roll.
Yeah.
Well, it's so nice when that confident piece comes and you're able to find that balance. And but yeah, you're right. Everybody has the butterflies and the nervousness and the doubts. And it's really a mental exercise to say, okay, no, I'm going to trust in the hard work. I'm going to trust in the process, and then swim free from all that stuff. And it's a practice. It's a discipline. Just like we physically discipline ourselves in the pool to have good turns and good streamlines, you mentally discipline yourself to think properly and have truth and perspective. So well done. And then the training camp in San Antonio was cool, my hometown. So y'all did 2 weeks there. and then flew down to Rio. Any cool memories from the training camp? Any cool epic sets you did with the gang?
Yeah, so training camp is great, because after everybody has been through that pressure cooker of trials, it's just all fun and happiness to be on the team, get to be training with each other finally. And the Olympic camp was just so many great memories of coming together as a team, and starting to experience like all of the, I can't think of a better word, but coolness of being on the Olympic team. And it's different than being on the world champ team or being on the Pan Pac team. Like, people just care in a different way. So the first time I really started to understand that was at the open practice, where like 4,000 people showed up on a Saturday morning to watch practice. And it's just like, oh my goodness, this is a new level. I have never been through anything like this before. I had a terrible practice that day. I was put in the lane with like Connor Yeager and Jordan Wilmofsky doing some awful aerobic hundreds. But that was really yeah.
I remember that y'all were doing the hundreds and Michael and Ryan were doing the 50s IM. And I thought, Maya should be doing the 50s IM.
That'd be a lot more fun. And Gregg was coaching like the girls 200 and 100 group that day. So they were all doing 50s pace. I was like, but that was like my one bad swim practice of camp, which for me is a great ratio. But no, it was like, we went out to a huge Fogo de Chao dinner as a team. And I remember thinking at that moment, like, not only am I in the best swimming shape of my life, this is my peak eating ability. Like, I will never be a better eater than I am at this moment. And like, we really embraced it. And the next day of practice, everybody was like going through the meat sweats. The coaches were like, oh no, but we quickly worked that off and it was worth it. And, just like time with the team in the team room at night, playing Rummy Cube, and lots of games, like listening to Beisel play the piano. It's just a great memories. It was a really happy time. Yeah,
those are some of my fondest memories. Is just downtime at the training camp, in the halls, in the rooms, whatever, the hotels, just talking and doing life. So Rio is, turns out there's no mosquitoes and there's no problems. It's a great venue, great, decent dorms, decent setup, and you have the meet of your life. And you do a best time in every event. And it was just magical. And what was something, do you remember some things that really helped? Was there certain routines, certain things you told yourself, certain warm-ups? I don't know, anything at all that just kind of helped you find that zone?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think so much of it is having gone through trials and knowing that you are an Olympian at this point, and that no matter what happens, that is true. That the U.S. team just gets to swim, as you said, like free. And then, you kind of have the competitive juices take over. So you have none of the stress and all of the competitiveness, and you are representing your country, and it's just magical. Like I did the 400 IM prelim, and it was the fastest and easiest prelim swim of my life. And like, I had never come close to that in prelims before. And to contrast that with my prelim swim at trials was just like astronomically different. And so I think that's a combination of like really great and intentional preparation from the coaches and the captains and the veterans and the people that had been through it before, making sure that we felt both comfortable, but also like ready for the moment of representing USA at the Olympics. And so, yeah, like, and then once the meet gets going and you have a few good swims, like the ball just takes off down the hill and the team just starts having one incredible performance after the other. So I remember like the men's 400 free relay was incredible to watch. Like just getting to see Caleb start against the rest of the world for the first time. Like I had never seen that before. It was just like, oh my goodness, that is next level. And it's only gotten better since then. But the momentum from there, and just once the relays started, like that's a special kind of pride and excitement. Yeah, but I think, you have to remember it's both the Olympics. And so like use that excitement and that attention and the energy in a way that we've not had at a swim meet before. But then you also have to remember it's just another swim meet, and you go in, you do your warm up, you put on your suit, you go to the ready room. Like we've done that a million times before. And so you just kind of have to strike that balance of like, I both know what I'm doing, it's not crazy, and also use the things that help you and make it really special. And I think we were able to do that incredibly well that meet as a team.
Yeah, it was a great start, and you had a great first day. Second place in the 400 IM, silver medal. So it's a great start. Mm-hmm. A couple of days later, bronze in the 200 IM. Any thoughts about that? Were you like ecstatic with the bronze? Were you kind of like a little sad about not getting silver? Or,
no, I hadn't. I think that was about where I was seated in that one. And I went a best time, like got another medal. And I think, so it also helped that this was my last meet I was ever doing, like my last swimming meet of my career. And so, once I had gotten the silver in the 400 IM with best time, it was like, great, I won a medal. And then it became, I want a medal in all of my individual events. I think that was my goal going into Rio. So getting the bronze in the 200 IM, I was quite excited about. And so that was like, great, another one, like new color, another medal, best time. And then I don't want to jump ahead too much, but then things got really crazy because
was the 800 relay before the 200 back?
It was before the 200 back. So the 800 free relay was the day after the 200 IM final.
Okay, so coaches knew you were on, you knew you were on, and the whole world knew Missy was off.
Only after prelims.
Oh, okay. After prelims, it got crazy.
So they actually told me, so I think you know this, but like just context, I didn't swim the 200 free at trials. I didn't have a guaranteed spot on the relay. The only situation in which I would swim was as a relay swimmer in the morning, as a prelim swimmer, to give somebody a swim off so that they could just swim at night. But actually right before I went to finals for the 200 IM, Coach Marsh told me like, we're not going to swim you tomorrow morning because we just need to have this lineup to see everybody that we need to see. And I was like, totally fair. I didn't have a guaranteed spot. Like, no worries. It would have been amazing to be on the relay and get that experience in prelims, but totally fine. So morning prelims go, and then they were looking at the times and thinking about who was doing well. And I had just gone that morning to do like a loosen swim, flush out from the night before. I was already back in the dining hall by the time the coaches met after the prelim session to like discuss what the lineup was going to be. And I got a text from my coach, Gregg, saying like, giddy up, you're going tonight. And my heart just went into my brain. I was so nervous and excited about that.
That is amazing. So you end up being on the relay that night and you split, lifetime best split, another lifetime best. Was it 157 low or what was it again?
It was 156 low.
56 low. Wow, that's huge.
I was reminded of that recently. I don't normally have that topic.
Yeah. So a perfect contributor and a gold medal there. Remind me the order of that relay again.
I was third. So Allison Schmidt led off. Leah Smith went next. I dove in after Leah third, and then Katie brought us home.
Yeah, that's a good relay.
Yeah, that was really fun.
And then every time I get to do a swim camp, we have video time. And so I show the kids my favorite YouTube swimming videos. And I'm like, okay, here's one of my favorites. And it's the 200 back. And I show you against the Iron Lady. She got you in the 400 IM. She got you in the 200 IM. And then she's ahead the whole way in the 200 back. and she's ahead the whole way, and then she's not. And then you touch her out in the 200 back, and you win the 200 back in lifetime best time. And, I commentate the whole time. She's a body length behind. But she doesn't give up. She keeps the technique perfect. She keeps, holding on, never giving up. And so tell us your mindset. What were you thinking during that race with the Iron Lady trucking ahead of you the whole way until the last 2 inches?
Yeah, I think, at that point, like 6/100ths of a second, the last race of my career, like I can't put any logic to it or say like, these are the reasons. Cause it was just it's an insane way to end. And I recognize like what an incredible experience that was. But I would say, I think it's a testament to the power of swimming free with no pressure. Like it was my last race ever. I had the Olympics I wanted. I'd gotten a gold medal from the relay, which I did not think I was going to get. And like just the team performance that week had been so incredible. And to feel like I was helping contribute to that, I was also using that for my own performances. Like, I think that's a huge reason of why I felt, and Simone had won the night before in the 100 free. So it was just like, okay, like crazy things have happened. I'll keep it open. But I was just really excited to go out there and race. And I love the 200 backstroke. I think it's easier than the 100 back. It was always my third event, like no pressure. It was a bonus. I had never even competed internationally in it until the Olympics. So it was just like the perfect situation of I have no pressure. Let's just go see what happens. And what's also nice about backstroke is you can't really see where you are. And I think that actually helped me in that race. So the only time I really remember being aware of seeing her was flipping on the third turn. And I was like, oh, I'm not as far behind as I thought I was going to be. Watching the race after, I realized I got much farther behind off that wall, but I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, okay, like I'm kind of close. I was feeling good. I started to hear the crowd get louder as the 50 progressed. And so I thought, okay, I'm either catching up or she's going to set the world record. And I just chose to believe that I was catching up. I also thought this is the hardest my legs are ever going to have to work again for the rest of their life. And it was just like, you spin your arms and hope for the best. And like, it honestly came down to my manicure. Like I broke my nail on the finish of that race, and 6/100ths of a second is not big. So it was just a variety of factors that I feel incredibly grateful all came together in just like an ending that I don't feel like I deserved, but I'm very grateful that I had it.
Yeah. Sometimes special things like that do happen. The hard work does pay off. The commitment to excellence pays off. And get your nails done before the meet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I'm commentating that race for the camp kids at our ultimate swim camps, I'm just like, I call you Little Maya because, Katinka's got these big guns, big arms, and she's a little bit bigger than you. And I says, Little Maya running down the Iron Lady. She did it. And, but yeah, it was a beautiful meet, and you knew that was your last meet. And so you just were able to really leave it all in the pool. And what a refreshing, cool way to look at. I think each race we should be like that. Like we never know. We don't have another race guaranteed.
Yeah.
And we should approach every race like that. I think that'll give us an extra boost all the time.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to the USA team right now? If you and I were at a team meeting in Tokyo and some are getting to go to the Olympic opening ceremonies, most are going to stay back and start shaving their legs, and the show's going to start. What would you say to the team?
I would just say they're so ready. They're so ready for this moment. I know it's a young team. I know there's not a lot of international experience, but it doesn't matter. They've been through trials, and that's huge. And you don't need to do anything crazy. You don't need to be anybody that you've never been before. You just need to be a good teammate and appreciate the moment and the opportunity that you have. And I think that's not going to be hard for people this year, given just the circumstances and how crazy everything is. But I think hopefully that makes it all about the team and them being able to support each other, where you don't have the distractions of fans and kind of all the other hubbub. Like, in a way, that's really sad, and I'm really sorry for them that their families can't be there, because I know that was such a special part of my Olympic experience. But I hope that is then replaced by like an extra deep team bond where they can just really focus on each other and the performances.
That's great advice, and I'm so glad you said that, because you really modeled being a great teammate. And we really saw that at 2016 Rio, the power of being a healthy teammate. And it's number 6 in my 7 habits of highly effective swimmers. And we've done this together at our swim clinics, and in number 6, I talk about the power of serving others. When you serve others and you cheer for others and you're high-fiving and you're hugging and you're laughing, that gives you a happy heart. And so your soul is freed up and you can really be your best. And we kind of saw that, when Michael Phelps gave you a big hug and you go backstage and you see everybody just high-fiving each other. So the more we served each other and laughed with each other and cheered each other, the faster we swam. And so I think this Tokyo team is really going to depend on that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well, you nailed it in the pool. You nailed it in the school. You nailed it in life. You married your college sweetheart, Rob. Give us a shout out, Rob. What do you guys like doing together? You guys have lived and talk about where you've lived. Y'all took the job, left Bay Area, took the job in Atlanta for a while, back to the Bay Area, summers in Michigan. Yeah. So give us a snapshot of what you've been doing the last 5 years.
Yeah. So, Rob is the best decision I've ever made, and the easiest one too. He's very smart. He works very hard. I would say he's a much harder worker than I am. And he has, just been such a great support for me in both having those hard conversations and just always being my biggest fan. And so we're coming up on 6 years in September, and it's just flown by. So I feel incredibly grateful for these early years of our marriage. We started out in Redwood City, training in Palo Alto, then moved to Atlanta only for 8 months. That was actually much shorter lived than we had originally intended. Came back to the Bay, where we've been for the last 4.5 years now. And we have been in a few different jobs, but, always made time for each other. We got a quarantine puppy last year named Winston, who brings lots of joy to our lives. And it's been really great we actually spent last summer in Michigan too with his family. So I adore his family. I just feel really lucky for, kind of the life that this has opened for us.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you're all about giving back. You're now a board member of USA Swimming, and you've provided some leadership and some great counsel to a lot of the decisions that have been made. A lot has been happening in the last year or two. And can you tell us just a little bit about what's been significant to you and what you've enjoyed doing, being a part of that and giving back that way?
Yeah, that's been a really interesting and rewarding experience. I've learned a tremendous amount. There's so much that goes on sort of on the dry side of the sport that we don't have to be aware of when we're swimming, because people do such a good job of making sure that that's all running smoothly behind the scenes. But it has been really great to get to see it. And just through like factors beyond our control and new legislation that's coming down, we actually are going to need more athletes to come and participate. And so I'm very excited for that potential and to recruit more of my former teammates into the governance world. Because it's also just a great way to kind of get to give back to the sport that's, really changed and shaped our lives, as well as, kind of selfishly stay in touch with people that I love dearly and have been close with for the last, at least 10 years of my life. And so highly recommend it. I think it's really great from a professional development standpoint, as athletes are young and starting out in their new careers outside of swimming to get this experience. And also it's, pretty fun to get to go see people and head back to the OTC when you don't have to train. It's a lot better. But I'm really glad I've been doing it, and it's been really, really interesting.
That's wonderful. Thank you for doing that. It is nice to go to the OTC and just eat and visit instead of It's the best. Okay, it's time for our lightning round to get to know Maya better, some of your favorite things. So what's your favorite event? Because you're good at 2 fly, 2 back, 200 IM, 2 free. Do you have a favorite? Or in 400 IM, of course. Do you have a favorite of those 5?
Short course, 200 IM, long course, 200 back.
Cool. Favorite drill for backstroke?
Oh, pulling backstroke with a buoy at your ankles or just a strap.
With the emphasis on the spin or just surviving?
Yeah, hips up. Don't worry about the spin until you can stay upright. But that totally changed my backstroke, is learning how to pull.
That's good. Favorite pool you've ever raced in?
Ooh, that's a fun question. I mean, the cop-out answer is Stanford, because we got to do nationals there in 2011. But internationally, the pool in Melbourne for my junior team trip in 2007 was really cool, like kind of half indoor, half outdoor. And just swimming in Australia is such a big thing. That was a really great meet and a cool facility that they had.
Yeah. Favorite city to visit for tourist stuff? Just fun stuff.
Barcelona.
Ooh, yeah. I've heard good things about that. I've always wanted to go there. Okay. Favorite color?
Like a seafoam green.
Nice. Favorite dessert food item? Like main food item, like to eat, or dessert, either one.
Okay. Dessert. Thank you for asking. I love this question. A summer like peach or berry cobbler. So that's hot, and then you have the cold vanilla ice cream. That is my perfect.
Yes, I was hoping you'd say a la mode. That's so good.
Yeah, obviously.
And are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning person. That is a learned swim habit that I can't break.
I know. I'm a morning person too, but I'm also a night person. So that makes me a nap person.
Yes.
Because I need that nap in the middle of the day. Now, I guess, what is, I may have to edit this out because I went blank for a second. I thought I had more questions, but I ran out. Oh, here's what I wanted to ask you. I had a swimmer come up to me one time, and she said, "Do you believe in me?" And I paused and I thought in my mind, I says, well, in my mind, I'm thinking she hasn't done much work. She hasn't shown up to practice, and she's been out, and yet she really wants to have a great season. And she wants me to believe in her. But I believe in hard work. I believe in consistency. I believe in, doing your very best every day. And so I don't know, I wasn't able to answer her correctly. Hold on one second.
No, you're fine.
And so what would, in your opinion, would be the best way to answer that when someone says, "Do you believe in me?" Because, Gregg believed in you, and yet you were 2.5 years away from this amazing moment. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I want to get your opinion on that situation I faced. Believe in the person and believe in the hard work, and how do you combine the two?
So it's hard. It's hard in that moment. Like I think belief, or sort of that belief has to be founded in truth. And like it has to be based on something real that you both kind of recognize and know to be true. And so Gregg told me once, he was like, failure, like end of season race failures are often not a surprise. Like you generally know more or less what's going to happen. weeks, if not months in advance. And so I think like, obviously that is not the time, like right before the race, to be like, nope, hasn't been a good season, haven't worked very hard. But I think that's worth the conversation of like, that conversation needs to happen months ahead of time. And, you know, after a tough practice or after a week where a swimmer hasn't been showing up well, like that is when we need to have that sit down moment and say like, what's going on? Let's check in. Or it's, you know, saying like, I believe that you're going to go out and do the best that you can in this race. And that's all that we can ever hope for, but that's probably the more truthful statement. And then at the end of that season or at the beginning of the next season, kind of sit down and like, you know, what do we have to do to put together the actual best that you can possibly be? And what are you willing to commit to that? I think I always resonated more when people knew my like body of work and practice and saw what I did, good or bad, and then gave me feedback based on that. And I did not respond well to the sort of trite, like, you're going to be an Olympian, you're going to be great. It was like, you don't know me or how I train or like what's been going on. So I always think it's best to like, it's so powerful when you can have that conversation honestly and then get to the point where you look at it and you're like, yes, I believe in you, because we can look back and see like this year you've crushed it and shown up to every practice and done all these things. And then I think that's really meaningful.
Yeah. Thanks for answering that. That's sometimes a tricky balance as a coach, as a mentor, to say, I believe in you, but I also believe in the hard work that we've done or that we're about to do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for what you've done for Team USA. Thank you for what you continue to do to the USA Swimming. And some lucky kids in New Jersey, September 18th, they're going to get to do the Ultimate Swimmer Clinic with you. And
yeah, I can't wait. So
that'll be fun. And you guys would like to keep up with Maya DiRado, how can they keep up with you on any social media things that they can?
Instagram, I'm at Maya DiRado. That's probably my best follow. So check that out. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing you around the pool soon, and enjoy the Olympics and go USA.
Thanks. Let's go.
Thank you for joining us on this Ultimate Swimmer podcast. We hope you enjoyed hearing from these Olympians and life champions and how certain habits and decisions help them on their journey, and they can help you too. If there is an Ultimate Swimmer from your team that you would like to nominate that we can recognize on our show, just email me at josh@joshdavis.com. That's josh@joshdavis.com. And tell us about how your Ultimate Swimmer is making a difference in your swimming community. And that's the goal, to make a difference and swim with purpose. Not only are you getting better, but you're helping those around you get better too. When you realize you were born for the water, born for greatness, and born to serve others, you are on your way to becoming an Ultimate Swimmer. I'm Josh Davis. Until next time, keep streamlining and keep smiling. See you around the pool soon.